Some carriers like to say that they're all about safety and they preach safety, but in the real world of trucking, they truly aren't. And they're willing to jeopardize the lives of their drivers. And you know what the kicker is? The sad part is that they get away with it because while it may be a lethal practice, it's a legal practice as well. There's no law against it. There's nothing worse than working outside with cold, wet gloves. The Never Limited mobile glove dryer will dry your gloves while you're on the fly. Easy to grab and use when you need it. Check out neverlimitedproducts.com. One of the most dangerous practices some of these carriers engage in are sending poorly trained new drivers out on the road. Now that's just unsafe and everyone knows it, but there's no law against it. And there is no law against it because the ATA lobbied for no minimum amount of training hours to be required for a truck driver to get his license. Why is that? Because the more training you give a guy, the more it costs the carrier. And the carrier does not want to spend money on training. He wants that driver in the seat, out there turning the wheels and making the carrier money. And if that isn't bad enough, some of these carriers are promoting unsafe rookie teams. They'll take a guy with 2 or 3 months experience, which is zero when it comes to driving ability, make him a trainer, put a new guy in with him that doesn't even have a license yet, and run the two of these guys as a team through hazardous weather, down mountains and snow, and it's obviously an unsafe and dangerous and lethal practice. But you know what? There's no law against it, and they're happy to do it. Another unsafe and lethal practice that some of these carriers engage in is they'll have a guy sitting up all day on call, waiting for dispatch, or they'll have him shunting trailers in the yard or working in the warehouse, but he's not on the ELD. So they'll keep him up all day waiting and working him, not on the ELD, and at the end of the day, they'll find a load they need covered, have him fire up the ELD, and have him deliver 500, 600 miles away the next morning, knowing that this driver has been up all day, and now he will be up all night. And that's a lethal practice, but it's not illegal, and they do it all the time. Another practice that some of these carriers engage in are not maintaining their equipment properly, because carriers love to make money, but they really hate to spend money. So they'll skimp on their maintenance, especially with their trailer fleets. And drivers sometimes will find fault with the equipment, particularly with the trailers, go into dispatch and report that the trailer isn't safe, and the carrier go, well, you know, it's loaded now, you'll be all right, it just had a safety, you go anyway. And they think because it's got the safety, it's good to go. It's a lethal practice, but until a mechanic certifies it as unsafe, it's not illegal. And they'll send the unsafe trailer and he'll go anyway. Here's a good example right here. This trailer has a current safety, it's good to go, yet when you look at these wheels, you can see all the rust that's formed on the rim. There's no way I'd leave the yard with this thing, but it's still legally good to go, but the chances are it's going to lose a wheel on the road. Finally, some carriers have decided to use this ELD as an efficiency tool. When they first came out, I thought it was going to be so they could ensure that the driver had proper rest and didn't run over his hours. But what some of these carriers are doing now is if the guy's hours are up at 2 in the morning, they're forcing him back out on the road, whether he's tired or not, because they want to get the most out of the piece of equipment that they possibly can. They want to make the most money off the truck as they possibly can. And you know what? There's nothing illegal about it. It's just a dangerous, safe, unsafe, lethal practice, and they just do it anyway. The sad truth is that a lot of today's trucking industry is driven by CEOs and managers with absolutely no trucking or driving experience at all. They're bean counters, basically, and their job is to make the most out of the trucks that they possibly can make. So it falls on the driver's shoulders to protect himself, because some of these carriers will not protect their drivers. So you've got to be able to say no when you're not fit to go. Don't allow yourself to be bullied. And the biggest tip is, don't engage with trucking companies that engage in these practices. If you're with a carrier that does this type of stuff, you need to find another carrier. You need to be gone. There are good carriers out there that don't engage in these type of things just for the sake of money. They put their drivers ahead of the dollar. And those are the carriers that you want to work for. Many years ago, running produce could be brutal because they had absolutely wild delivery schedules when they wanted this stuff in off the coast. And I knew one particular guy that literally ran with a couple hours sleep right from California into Toronto. And he stayed awake the whole time and fell asleep at the wheel 1 mile from the produce terminal. Hit a bridge abutment, destroyed the load, destroyed the truck and trailer. He survived it, but there was a matter of being pushed, not using his common sense, and it damn near killed him. That's why I say, find good people to work with, get a good carrier to go with, stay safe, keep the rubber side down, protect yourself, because no hot load is worth losing a life for. I'll see you on the back haul.